Guess who's back? Bubba G. And Bubba G is teaching Bible basics for all those who want to know, but especially those 10 and under, because you need to learn. In the last video, we saw the resurrection of Jesus. Jesus was resurrected. They saw him after he was crucified. He came to them, breathed on them, the disciples, and said, receive the Holy Spirit. In this video, we're going to see Jesus taken up to heaven. Where you at, Bubba G? I'm in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 6. When the apostles met together with Jesus, they asked him, Lord, will you at this time give the kingdom back to Israel? Jesus said to them, the times and occasions are set by my Father, my Father's own authority, and it is not for you to know when they will be. But when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you will be filled with power, and you will be witnesses for me in Jerusalem, in all of Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. Wow. After saying this, he was taken up to heaven as they watched him, and a cloud hid him from their sight. They still had their eyes fixed on the sky as he went away, when two men dressed in white suddenly stood beside them and said, Galileans, why are you standing there looking up at the sky? This Jesus who was taken from you into heaven will come back in the same way that you saw him go to heaven. Wow. Remember, Jesus had said that before. He said he's coming back in the cloud in the last days. Yes. So now, let's look at chapter 2. When the day of Pentecost came, all the believers were gathered together in one place. Suddenly, there was a noise from the sky. It sounded like a strong wind blowing, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. Then they saw what looked like tongues of fire, which spread out and touched each person there. They were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to talk in other languages as the Spirit enabled them to speak. There were Jews living in Jerusalem, religious people who had come from every country in the world. When they heard this noise, a large crowd gathered. They were all excited because all of them heard the believers talking in their own languages. In amazement and wonder, they exclaimed, these people who are talking like this are Galileans. How is it then that all of us hear them speaking in our own native languages? Where we are from Parthia, Media, and Elam, from Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, from Pontus and Asia, from Phrygia and Pamphylia, from Egypt and the regions of Libya near Cyrene. Some of us are from Rome, both Jews and Gentiles converted to Judaism. And some of us are from Crete and Arabia. Yet all of us hear them speaking in our own languages about the great things that God has done. Amazed and confused, they kept asking each other, what does this mean? So what do we see here? We see these people got filled with the Holy Ghost. Wow. First Jesus breathed on them, then they came on top of them from heaven. But first they got saved. It was like Jesus gave them the Holy Spirit because they needed it for their lives. But then they needed the dunamis power of God to come on them so they could go out and be strong witnesses for him. Let's keep reading though. Then Peter stood up. No, let's keep this back up. But Verse 13, but others made fun of the believers, saying, these people are drunk. Then Peter stood up with the other 11 apostles and in a loud voice began to speak to the crowd. Fellow Jews and all of you who live in Jerusalem, listen to me and let me tell you what this means. These people are not drunk, as you suppose. It is only 9 o'clock in the morning. Instead, this is what the prophet Joel spoke about. This is what I will do in the last days, God says. I will pour out my spirit on everyone. Your sons and daughters will proclaim my message. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will have dreams. Yes, even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit in those days, and then they will proclaim my message. I will perform miracles in the sky above and wonders on the earth below. There will be blood, fire, and thick smoke. The sun will be darkened, and the moon will turn red as blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord comes. And then whoever calls out to the Lord for help will be saved. Yes.